7183. WarrenEdson.com. Green Faith Ministry is for spiritual guidance, MMJ information, and networking combined with compassionate care on the way to enlightenment with all Green Faith sacraments. Green Faith provides charity assistance, including medical and food throughout the year. Contact them at greenfaithministry.com.
All right, so when we left the break, I kind of went on my little tangent about, future city design, like the Venus Project, which you can check out, I think, thevenusproject.com. But also, what is the world going to look like if we really fully incorporate hemp? So can you think of one usage, Chris, that you think that you could see like it would change the world by utilizing hemp?
A lot more plants around.
Okay. That was the slowest, most stoner response ever.
I like seeing.
You like seeing the sea of green.
Well, yeah, I like when we moved into my neighborhood. There was a lot of trees and stuff like that, and walking through the block to go to like the grocery store or something like that, just being covered by trees in the summertime was always an awesome feeling for me. And then they ended up cutting all these trees and putting in the sidewalk, and I'm like, what the hell?
Well, yeah, and hemp fields do create a lot of oxygen. Sequester CO2. I mean, it's amazing just in that aspect. You're right. And you could also say the fact that maybe there would be more trees going on due to the less logging or for the timber industry. Now, I do want to say this towards the timber industry because a lot of them will say this, is that they actually do a good job of help mitigating wildfires by doing that. And there are really good practicing timber places that, companies that do practice that. So I don't want to knock the timber industry or anything like that. But at the same point, hemp as a paper producer still blows it away. 4 acres is for hemp is equivalent to 1 acre trees. And then you're looking at the fact that hemp grows every 3 months, trees, 20 years basically.
Yeah. What would happen if you let a hemp plant grow for 20 years?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. I don't know. I know it gets to be more like a tree, but my guess would be, and this is a total guess, is as that stalk gets thicker and bigger, it would choke out the other ones because they grow really densely packed in together. Or maybe it is more like marijuana, because marijuana you can kind of almost grow. You pretty much grow into a mini tree. I've seen, plants at a couple dispensaries growing to be like 12 feet tall when they got into tree form. It's insane.
Yeah, I've seen them pretty huge.
I don't know, actually. I don't know if it would eventually just die and then it would just kind of regrow. I'm not really sure on that because I don't think anybody's ever done it because, God, if you do grow it that long, you just take it. But there is feral hemp. There is feral hemp out there. And so when you look at feral hemp, I don't think it gets any taller than 12 to 15 feet as a whole. And it does still kind of stay.
But is there a different strain or whatever? What would you call it? A pheno? Or
there might be one specific that you can grow more like a tree. And like for example, over at Hood Lab, they do have a couple of hemp plants out there.
Yeah, those things are pretty huge.
And they are big. And they do have thicker stalks that look more like tree-like, tree-ish. So yeah, I'm not the expert on that, the growth side of things at all. I like to talk about the usage side of things.
Yes.
And that's the stuff that gets me really excited.
Honestly, I would like to be able to wake up and everything that I use is pretty much made out of something that I know that when it gets thrown away or it's done being used, it
breaks down.
Yeah, it's not getting stuck in the middle of the ocean and creating a little plastic planet.
It is. It's a continent. Island. It's actually, you can almost say it's almost a continent now because I think it's the size of Texas.
That is insane.
And isn't Texas not that small, much smaller than like Australia? I'm terrible at that kind of thing.
I honestly have no idea.
Well, on a map it looks about as big, but I don't trust maps because they usually make the United States look bigger than it actually is.
Geography was not
your thing.
My strongest.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more like I question the geography we were taught in school. You know what I mean?
I question everything we were taught in school.
This is true. It's a good point. I do. If you're not questioning everything you were taught in school, then, you're not paying attention. I think.
You shouldn't be smoking weed yet. Wait till you finish.
Or smoke the weed because it'll cause you to question it. I think that's actually, as one of those more esoteric arguments for why people don't like, there's a prohibition on cannabis, is that the powers that be have problems with cannabis because it can make you question the powers that be. I think we already are in a point in our society where most of us who are paying attention in any way, shape, or form are really disillusioned by our government. And I think whether you're on whatever side of the quote unquote aisle you're on, you are either unhappy with the Democrats or you're unhappy with the Republicans. But as a whole, I think most of us are unhappy with actually both parties and in the way that they both operate and are running our country, and really not listening to the will of the people in any way, shape, or form. But I think cannabis is something that enhances it, and it is actually one of the reasons behind Nixon going after cannabis and creating the Controlled Substances Act and really going after it, because he felt like it was one of those things that they're congregating and they're smoking pot together and they're questioning the government, and they're like, well, maybe it's the pot that makes them question the government. And it's like, you know what, part of you are not necessarily incorrect. It's what it is the cannabis makes you sit back and look outside of some of the things that you're in to some extent, and it stimulates conversation and open ideas with other people where you do start questioning how things are being run. So I understand the logic behind that. I really do. I think on a regular basis, I mean, tell me if this is wrong, Chris, or you pipe in on this, but like when you sit around in a circle with a bunch of people smoking, and if you're like, depending on what you're doing, but if it's like one of those like couch moments and you're all just hanging out and just having random conversations, a lot of times politics or the way things are and how things could get better seem to come up.
Always.
Right?
Always. There's always somebody that's talking about. But it's true, though, because I honestly think that if things keep going like how they are, there probably will be a revolution, and there'll be some because I don't know, I just don't think the government's doing its job, and the FDA is poisoning people, and once people start realizing that, and now they're trying to control the internet.
Yeah, that is a crazy thing, isn't it?
I'm like,
for those of you who don't know, and I'm not going to claim to be an expert, but look into this. There's been a bill or basically posed by, is it our Secretary of Communication, whoever's in charge?
I have no idea.
Of the FCC. Sorry. Oh, no. FCC. Yeah. Yes. Basically opening up the fact that the internet speed that you get things, and I don't mean the speed that you get your internet, all right? So I have to like kind of delineate the two. Like you can get like high-speed internet, you can get DSL internet and all of that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the speed in which certain websites open up.
They're trying to news. So what you see on Fox 31, Channel 9, and all that stuff that's what they're trying to do with it.
Right. So it doesn't mean that you can't access anybody's website. You can still access anybody's website, but like say for example, our website. Well, we might not be able to be at the same speed anymore of downloading and have as many servers working for us or whatnot for the speed that we have that like say Facebook has, or say like Project Sam has, against marijuana. Maybe they all of a sudden get a faster internet connection. And it's interesting because they think that this is a great way to like create commerce on the web, and to me, there's no reason to create commerce on the web for 5 companies, which basically would be the ones that take advantage of it. You're basically saying the top 1%ers of industry get the fastest websites.
Some monopoly
exactly
creating monopoly.
How do we create a monopoly without creating a monopoly? How do we control the flow of information and all that?
Grab this curtain and just pull it over everybody's eyes without them noticing. Exactly.
So, this is something that everybody needs to be paying attention to, because very, very quietly, the internet might have died a couple of weeks ago.
And then they're trying to
or the internet as we know it.
And then they're trying to privatize roads, so you got to pay to go.
I wanted to talk about that. When we get back, let's talk a little bit about that, because I think we're going to do a story about it. So we'll be back in just a moment.
This segment was brought to you by The Farm, a medical marijuana care center located at 2801 Iris Street in Boulder. The Farm carries premium, cannabis, edibles, and Hummingbird brand products. Visit our new cannabis lifestyle store for your local artesian glass, vaporizers, and hemp clothing. The Farm has been serving Boulder since 2009. Isn't it time you come and see what we have to offer?
Whether you are a commercial grower or cultivate as a hobby, No Dough Urban Garden Supply is Denver's first stop for your hydroponic grow needs. With a wide range of products including house and garden, Botanicare, and Fox Farm, their knowledgeable staff can get you started on your first garden or help you with your well-established business. No Dough Urban Garden Supply is located in downtown Denver at 1330 27th Street, 4 blocks north of Coors Field near MMD of Colorado. They are open 6 days a week from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call 303-296-3424 or visit them on the web at www.nodoughurbangardensupply.com.
The National Cannabis Industry Association would like to thank its members who represent the leading professional businesses in America's emerging legal cannabis market. NCIA is the only organization that has unified legitimate cannabis business across the nation to fight for real reform in Washington, D.C. For more information or to make your business a member, visit us online at thecannabisindustry.org.
All right, so we're back, and I'm glad you brought that up, privatization of roads. So there's a big thing going on right now as we speak here in Colorado. There's a deal that's being made to privatize the Boulder Turnpike, which is U.S. Highway 36, basically between Denver, I-25 in Denver to Boulder. It's about around 40 miles, 40 miles to Boulder or something. Maybe it's a little less than that.
Maybe 40 miles around there.
Yeah,
it takes 30 minutes to get there.
It takes it takes 30 minutes to get there if
From
there's no
where I
traffic.
live, yeah.
If there's no traffic, it moves along.
Yes.
Honestly, it has always been a really big pain in the butt road to drive.
Well, a lot of people have died on that road.
A lot of people have died on there.
They've been doing the construction.
Yeah, and they have been doing a lot of construction, and the way that construction has been done has been fairly confusing. And I think that's probably why there have been deaths there, is because it's kind of like, wait, where am I going? Okay, crap. There's like,
I hopped on the highway going the wrong way.
Yeah, exactly. It's just been really and so there's a deal going on to give this to privatize this road, and here's what I find amazing. It's a 50-year contract. No business would ever, with another business, do a 50-year contract. And yet our government, here in Colorado is talking about making a deal with a company, and they've never done this privatized road before on 36, never been privatized, and talking about doing a 50-year contract with them. That to me is absolutely insane. I mean, if it was a 10-year contract, I'd almost be like, well, I think it's a bad move, but it's only 10 years. But for you to say 50 years and to lock something like this in where we will have no choice in the matter is absolutely insane. And then how much are they saying it's going to cost to go from Denver to Boulder?
I think it was they're saying like $28 or something.
$28 to travel a road that everybody's traveling for free. And what's going to happen is everybody's going to take the side roads, and then those side roads are going to get a ridiculous amount of traffic on them and cause a lot of problems. So you're basically, if I'm in Boulder, I'm pissed because you're talking about cutting commerce off from Boulder.
Or if my job's in Boulder,
or if my job's in Boulder, or if I'm from Boulder and my job's in Denver, which there are a lot of people who commute from Boulder to Denver to work.
Or if I go to school in Boulder.
Exactly. You're basically putting Boulder out on its mini little island away from Denver in a way. And this is insane to me. And this whole idea, I mean, I'm sure there's people out there going to say I'm a socialist and all, but there's this whole idea that's been going on from the right side of politics about privatization because government doesn't work. In my opinion, there's things that government works well on and things government doesn't work well on. But one thing that I think government in the history has proven to do better or do well is, building roads and doing that when government actually puts its mind to it. I think the argument that government doesn't work when you're in government is kind of sad because it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you're constantly saying, well, government doesn't do a good job, government doesn't do a good job, it's like, well, then why do you have a job? You keep saying that, that's like me working for my own company and saying, oh, but the Hemp Connoisseur sucks. The Hemp Connoisseur sucks. Why would I do that? Why would I speak like that? So for them to say that is because to me, they have their interest in other places. And to do a 50-year contract with a business tells me that somebody is getting paid to make a deal like that. And I call bullshit on it.
Follow the money.
Always follow the money, man. Always follow the money. But to make it that costs that much to go to Boulder to travel. So you basically, I have to pay $1 a mile. pretty much maybe a little less than $1 a mile to travel through that. It's insane. I know, for example, I mean, maybe I'm just somebody who's relatively cheap. I never have to travel on 470, which is
the people that are driving just to like Louisville or
well,
Superior.
now they're going to have to buy passes, I'm sure, or something that they can screen pass through it. Honestly, what should be happening is, you know what, make a contract with somebody to let's create like a train that travels really a good high-speed commuter rail, maybe a commuter monorail. You know, I mean, it's easier to build. I mean, the monorail in the Epcot Center is still standing and running, but not a bad idea. And here's the thing: there's actually somebody out there, and I'm not going to be able to say his name, but you can look it up, who wants to create a project of a monorail that's made out of hemp, because it's lighter. You can make it stronger than a lot of other plastics out there, right there, and so it would be easier to operate it. And imagine that. Imagine a monorail basically coming from Denver to Boulder, and then stopping obviously in Louisville and all the other areas in that
Denver
road.
to the mountains.
Denver to the mountains, where
All the way up I-70
a
all the way
train
to,
would be
like,
incredibly
Glenwood
difficult to
Springs.
build. I think a train would be really difficult to
Yes.
build through I-70 because it's so tight. But a monorail would still be difficult to build, but I think it would be more possible or more plausible to do something like that. So hey, there you go, a hemp monorail going all
But
through
does
I-70.
snow have anything to do effect with it?
That's a good question. My understanding is there's always ways to go around that. Obviously, same with a train. There are ways to go around that. So trains travel all the time in the snow.
Yeah.
It's safer than trucking. So why not? Why not have commuter monorails? I think everybody laughs when I bring this up because they always think of the Epcot Center and it was a kind of a gimmicky thing. It's like, no, there's actually a lot of sense behind it.
No, I've always thought of that, like with the traffic coming back from snowboarding. It needs something.
It needs something. There's a lot of accidents on that road. That road closes a lot of time. People get stranded up in the mountains who are traveling.
That never driven in the snow
droven.
before.
You said droven. You know that, right?
Driven in the snow. Sorry.
That's all right. I'm just buzzing. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that always drives me crazy. I'm like, why aren't they spending the money on that? I mean, yes, we have to do construction on the roads to make sure the roads are safe. But everyone's always like, let's expand the roads because more and more people are going to be driving here. It's like, why don't you expand public transportation so less and less people are driving? And then your roads can stay how they are and they'd be nice and safe. I would travel by train if I could travel by train easier. I do have a complaint about the light rail, though. Do you travel the light rail, Chris?
No, the only time I've ever been on the light rail is when they actually they first opened.
When they first opened?
My dad took me, my mom, and my little sister to go ride it. And I was like, it's cool, but
slow.
All right, let's go. Yeah,
it is slow.
It wasn't nothing too.
Yeah. It just takes a long time. I mean, I took it when I lived in Colorado Springs. We stopped at one of the lower, the southern areas. I forget which one it is down there. Everybody always says the name, but I was only on it once. But we did that because we were coming to a game. And it took like 45 minutes plus from the time that we got on the train, when it was like something that should have taken like half the amount of time. And to me, when I think public transportation coming from like New York or Chicago, if there's no traffic, it's at least just as fast as driving, if not faster. And then on an average, it's always faster to take the train. And that's including the wait time for the train and everything. So I did feel like the light rail was kind of just chugging along, and I would have liked to have seen a little bit more speed out of the movement of that train.
Yeah, it didn't go that fast.
It doesn't go that fast. And so if you're not going to make it fast and convenient, you're already starting with a couple of strikes against you.
You're just causing more traffic.
Yeah, I mean, I love that they're expanding the light rail. I think that's great, but it does take a lot of time. It really is. It's kind of slow, and so that's where I'd like to see like a commuter rail come into place. Same thing for I-25. The corridor of I-25 from Denver down to Colorado Springs. You're looking at about 70 plus miles. It's basically two lanes the whole way. It goes through another city, Castle Rock. All the way. You could go all the way down to Pueblo, all the way down to like New Mexico, and create a line all the way down I-25, like a nice speed train that would just cruise down there, and then you would eliminate so much traffic. Do we have somebody?
No,
Oh.
no.
So that's one of the things I'd like to see in the future out of hemp is like, okay, what, we in Colorado have kind of embraced hemp. We're starting to embrace it and we get industry going. Well, let's start saying, okay, well, now let's take this product, this crop that we start like really embracing, and what can we do with this crop to show, hey, this is part of who Colorado is. Hey, a hemp monorail would be a really cool idea, I think. Look it up. I forget the guy's name. I'll have to look it up later on because my iPad's really slow right now. Hemp monorail. It's an interesting concept. I've always thought about it in the back of my head and be like, okay, when is that time coming?
That is a cool concept.
It is. We only got a few minutes left. So here's what I want to talk about right now. We have an event going on in March. The Hemp Connoisseur does, and we are co-hosting it with the makers of Incredibles Bar and medically correct. Sorry.
Medically incorrect.
I said medically incorrect.
No, their chocolates are the shit.
Medically correct chocolate. The Incredibles bars are the shit, and if you do not live in Colorado and you are coming out here, I highly recommend trying any one of the Incredibles bars.
First thing if you're gonna buy an edible, buy an Incredible.
Yeah, incredible
Chocolate
edible.
chip.
Well, because look, they're first of all really tasty.
Oh, they're delicious.
But the medication is amazing.
Awesome. I've had other brands that I said they were like 150, 200, and I've eaten 100 milligram Incredible, and it's done me right every time.
See, I can't mess with whole 100 milligrams.
Oh, I can.
I can't. I can go up to 50. Like 50 is like full on. Like I am at home. I want to like melt into my couch because I'm in a lot of pain.
100's that spot for me.
100's that spot for you. But 25 is like a good daily milligram count for me, where I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling good. It's nice body relaxation, just feeling good, happy, good mood all day. Big fan of Incredibles. So Marijuana Madness is going to be held at one of my favorite underground spots here in Colorado at Hood Lab. It's underground and it's not underground. It's not like it's like secret, but a lot of people don't know about it, and the more people find out about it, the more they're going to want to hang out there.
If you're not from Colorado and need a place to smoke, Hood Lab.
Yep. Our friends Adam and Cece Dunn, they own Hood Lab, and they sell their Hood Lab clothing line right out of there. Great products, my favorite outerwear clothing line ever, and not just because it's hemp, but it's awesome that it is. But really, like my favorite jacket ever. I know you have one as well, don't you, Chris?
I have a sweater, and it is awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
So you'll be able to check out those. But anyway, guests, the 21st and the 22nd for Marijuana Madness, people who buy tickets are going to be able to be thrown into a raffle to be judges, because Marijuana Madness is the first home grower and home edible makers competition ever thrown in Colorado. And the Incredibles and the Hemp Connoisseur are hosting this party. It's going to be a great time. So you get your name thrown into a raffle. You get to judge the winners for Marijuana Madness, and how it's done is cool. We're doing it like March Madness is going to be a bracketed system. All of the products are going to be tested by Can Labs to make sure they are safe for consumption before they even get into any judge's hands.
They should be always.
Which they should be always. But these are made from homemakers, so we want to make sure, hey, they, no pesticides, no E. coli, anything like that. We want to know that when you get this product, it's safe for consumption. And so what happens is they get tested, and then based on the strength of the product, they will be seeded on that bracketed system for those of you who do the brackets on March Madness. And then it's going to be a head-to-head competition. Winner advances, the loser is eliminated. And when it comes down, the final winner overall under the home grower in competition will get cash prizes and a wander trimmer from Easy Trim. That's EZ Trim. Easy Trim makes this wander trimmer. It's a personal wander trimmer. It's awesome. It's like a handheld one, so you can get more specific. You not just throw it into a machine. Great for home growers to be able to trim their plants up really fast and kind of brag to their other home growers that they're not just using scissors anymore. Mm-hmm. And then for the winner of the edibles, you are going to get a chance. Incredibles is making an amazing offer. They will take a look at your edible, and they will look at your recipe, and they may very well, depending, on a couple of legal factors, of course, in their communications with whoever wins, make your recipe under the Incredibles line. And you get a possible shot at getting royalties off of every one of those bars or whatever the recipe is that you have being made. So pretty amazing kind of prize for somebody to be a part of who's never been in the cannabis industry but has loved making products with cannabis or loves growing their own plants in the closets. I know for a fact that there's some amazing home growers out there that can make some real fire product and can probably compete toe to toe with dispensaries on a on a gram for gram basis. Now, we all know though it's much different from growing in your closet or in your garage than it is to grow on a mass scale. But it is a way to showcase who's doing an amazing job just for their personal growth at home. Think of it like a home brewers competition where the people get to vote and decide on it. It's a festival at Hood Labs. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of great vendors there. There's going to be some great food trucks. It's going to be going on for 2 days in March, Friday and Saturday, the 21st and the 22nd. So check out Marijuana Madness. You can go to the Hemp Connoisseur's Facebook page for all the event information. You can buy tickets at eventbrite.com under Marijuana Madness, or you can talk to our friends Adam and Cece and visit them at Hood Lab when you go to buy some of their clothes, and they can give you some more information about it. So, first of all, I want to thank my partner in crime today, Mr. Chris Rosales. Thank you so much for keeping your eyes open for the entire show.
Oh, no problem.
And next week we will have the lovely Miss Samantha Walsh back on again, I am told. And I have a guest that I can't say is guaranteed, but somebody who's been in one of the largest companies in the cannabis industry is possibly showing up next week. So until next time, thanks for joining us. Peace, love, and hempiness.